You are here because something within you already knows the truth, that you are the operant power. In this lecture, we will not chase riches. We will become the consciousness of wealth itself. Assume the feeling of being wealthy. Now, do not wait for the money to come. Live in the end. Wealth is a state of consciousness. Enter it, embody it, and the world will rearrange itself to reflect your assumption. You are not waiting for your destiny to unfold. You are shifting into the state where it has already manifested. This simple truth changes everything. Your world. This seemingly solid reality emerges from within you, not the other way around. Every morning you awaken to a universe that responds not to what is, but to what you assume to be true. This is the law of assumption in its purest form. When you truly grasp this principle, wealth ceases to be something you chase and becomes something you simply select. Like choosing which room in your mansion to enter, the unseen creates the scene. Always. Your imagination isn't mere fantasy. It's the most potent creative force in existence. What you mentally claim as true creates ripples through the quantum fabric of reality. Before a dollar ever appears in your bank account, it must first exist in your consciousness as an assumed fact. Most people have this backward. They wait for external evidence before they'll believe in their wealth. They say, when I see the money, then I'll feel abundant. And so they remain locked in waiting. But you understand the law of assumption. You reverse this process. You dare to feel the wealth now before any physical evidence appears. You move through each day, embodying the consciousness of the wealthy version of yourself. Not as pretense, not as hope, not as affirmation, but as an assumed reality already completed. When you wash your face in the morning, the person in the mirror is already wealthy. When you dress, you're adorning the body of someone for whom abundance is natural. When you speak, your words flow from the consciousness of one who commands infinite resources. This isn't positive thinking. This isn't visualization. This isn't manifestation. This is assumption. The art of occupying a state of consciousness, so completely that it has no choice but to objectify itself in your world. Think of it like this. Your consciousness is a garden where reality grows. Whatever state you plant yourself in mentally must, by universal law, bear fruit in physical form. The outer world has no option but to rearrange itself to match your inner assumption. This is not fantasy. This is quantum creation. Consciousness is the only reality. Your five senses show you effects, never causes. True power lies in recognizing that what appears out there originated in here. Everything in your experience was first a state you occupied mentally. Your current financial situation, whatever it may be, began as an assumption. Perhaps an unconscious one, perhaps inherited from others, perhaps absorbed from society, but an assumption nonetheless. And what consciousness has created, consciousness can recreate. You can shift states as easily as walking from one room to another. The wealthy version of you already exists, not as potential, not as possibility, but as a completed state in consciousness. Your task is not to create wealth, but to step into the state where wealth is already yours. Feel the relief of financial freedom. Experience the ease of abundance. Breathe as someone who never worries about money. Move as someone who attracts opportunity effortlessly. Think of someone whose value is recognized universally. Do this not occasionally, but as a living practice. Do this not as rehearsal, but as reality. When you understand that assumption hardens into fact, you hold the master key to creation. The outer world has no choice but to bend to your inner knowing. This is universal law. This is creative power. This is your birthright. Your imagination is not separate from reality. It is the workshop where reality is fashioned before it appears to your senses. What you imagine with feeling becomes the blueprint that the universe must follow. Not tomorrow, not someday, but now. In consciousness, there is no time. There is only the eternal now, the moment of creation. In this eternal now, you can select any state you wish to occupy. The state of wealth already exists, complete and perfect. It awaits only your assumption. Most seek wealth through endless doing, more hours, more effort, more struggle. They exhaust themselves pushing against reality. But you know better. You understand that wealth comes not from doing but from being. not from action but from assumption. The outer actions still occur, but they flow from a new state of consciousness. They become inspired action rather than desperate effort. When you assume the feeling of wealth fulfilled, opportunities appear that were invisible before. Ideas come that were previously beyond your reach. Connections form that seemed impossible. The universe rearranges itself to match your assumption. This is not magical thinking. This is the precise operation of universal law. Just as an apple seed must become an apple tree, your assumption must become your experience. It has no alternative. Let me share a profound truth. Your external world is nothing more than your internal world pushed out. Every dollar in your account, every opportunity that comes your way, every financial door that opens or closes, all of it corresponds precisely to your state of consciousness. Change the state, and the world must change. This is why those who chase money often never catch it. They're operating from a state of lack, and lack can only create more lack. But those who assume wealth as their natural state find that money flows to them through countless channels, expected and unexpected. Begin to observe your thoughts about wealth. Notice how you feel when you think about money. Are you anxious, frustrated, worried, or are you calm, assured, expectant? Your emotional response reveals the state you're occupying, and that state is creating your financial reality. The secret to financial transformation is not found in new strategies or investments. These are important, but secondary. The primary cause of wealth is consciousness. When you shift your consciousness to one of abundance, the strategies and investments naturally align. The right ideas find you, the right people appear, the right opportunities present themselves, all by law, not by luck. How do you make this shift? Begin with a simple practice. Throughout your day, catch yourself whenever you feel financial limitation. In that moment, pause. Close your eyes if possible. Take a deep breath, and then deliberately assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Feel how you would feel if wealth were already your reality. Let this feeling saturate your being. Let it inform how you stand, how you breathe, how you speak. Do this not once, but continuously. Make it your moment-by-moment practice. When you pay a bill, do so from the consciousness of abundance. When you make a purchase, do so from the state of unlimited supply. When you discuss money, speak from the assumption of wealth. Gradually, this new state will become your natural dwelling place. You'll no longer need to remember to assume wealth. You will be the embodiment of wealth consciousness. And as you stabilize in this new state, your outer world must, by law, reorganize itself to match. This transformation occurs not by force, but by assumption. Not by demanding, but by knowing. The universe yields to your consciousness because your consciousness is the universe expressing itself as you. You are not separate from the creative power that forms worlds. You are that power individualized as a human experience. When you assume wealth, you're not convincing an external force. You're aligning with your true nature as creator. Remember, assumption hardens into fact. What you persist in assuming, despite all evidence to the contrary, must manifest in your experience. This is not hope. This is not theory. This is law, as certain as gravity, as reliable as dawn. The physical world has no choice but to mirror what you claim in consciousness. True wealth begins when you shift from seeing money as something to get to recognizing it as something you already possess in consciousness. The moment you assume I am wealthy as your reality, not as affirmation, but as fact, the entire universe begins moving to bring your outer world into alignment with this inner truth. This is not mysticism. This is creation. This is how worlds are made. You are always manifesting. You are always creating. You are always assuming states. The question is, which state are you assuming? Choose wealth consciousness. Choose it now. Choose it completely. Step into the version of you for whom abundance is natural as breathing. Feel it in your cells. Know it in your bones. Live from this truth and watch as the unseen becomes seen, as the imagined becomes tangible, as your assumption becomes your reality. You are not waiting for your wealthy future. You are shifting into the state where it has already happened. And in doing so, you command the creative forces of the universe to make it so. This is your power. This is your birthright. This is the law of assumption in action, and it never fails. Most believe wealth requires decades of striving. But those who understand the law of assumption know wealth appears the moment you fully occupy its state. There exists a crucial distinction that separates the dreamers from the creators. Wishful thinking says, "I hope this happens someday." True assumption declares, "This is already done." One begs from reality, the other commands it. One positions you as a supplicant, the other establishes you as creator. This distinction changes everything. To merely wish for wealth keeps it perpetually in your future. To assume wealth brings it instantly into your present consciousness. And what exists in consciousness must, by a mutable law, externalize in experience. Feeling is the secret bridge between imagination and reality. Not intellectual agreement, not verbal affirmation, not visualization alone, but feeling the living sensation of your wish fulfilled. When you can feel wealthy before a single dollar manifests, you've discovered the master key. Most attempt to generate feeling after seeing evidence. But those who understand the law know feeling precedes evidence. Always. Your emotional state is the language that consciousness understands. It's how you communicate with the creative substance of the universe. When you persistently feel the reality of your wealth, even while your senses deny it, you've engaged the creative process at its source. This is the art of assumption in its purest form. The world doesn't respond to what you want. The world doesn't respond to what you need. The world doesn't even respond to what you deserve. The world responds only to what you assume as true. And assumption is not mere thought. It is embodied knowing. It is feeling so complete that your entire being resonates with the reality of your desire fulfilled. Let me introduce you to the practice that accelerates this embodiment. Mental rehearsal. Each day, create sacred moments where you step into the scene of your fulfilled desire. Close your physical eyes. Open your inner eye. Enter the state where wealth is already yours. See the details of this wealthy life. Hear the conversations you're having. Feel the emotions that accompany financial freedom. Move through this inner scene not as fantasy but as memory. Not as hope, but as experience. Make it as vivid as any moment you've actually lived. For in consciousness, there is no distinction between what you've physically experienced and what you've imagined with feeling. Both imprint themselves on your subconscious with equal power. Both command the universal creative forces with equal authority. Most believe this inner work is secondary to physical action. But those who understand the law know this inner work is the primary creative act. The outer actions will follow, naturally, effortlessly, inevitably. They become the bridge your assumption walks across to enter your physical world. Persistence in this practice rewires both your consciousness and external reality. Each time you mentally rehearse living in wealth, you strengthen neural pathways that make this state increasingly natural. What felt foreign begins to feel familiar. What seemed impossible begins to feel inevitable. What appeared distant begins to feel immediate. And as this internal shift solidifies, the external world has no choice but to reorganize itself to match your new vibration. Jobs appear that pay more than you previously thought possible. Opportunities emerge that weren't visible from your former state. People are drawn to you, who can elevate your financial position. Ideas come that can generate wealth beyond your previous conception. All by law, not by coincidence. All by assumption, not by accident. Let me offer vivid examples of how to embody these states before they physically manifest. To embody wealth, when you open your mail, feel the calm certainty that comes with financial abundance, regardless of what bills await you. When you enter a store, move through it with the quiet confidence of someone who can afford anything they truly desire. When you discuss business, speak with the relaxed authority of someone whose wealth is already secured. When you make decisions, make them from the consciousness of unlimited resources. When you encounter expensive items, appreciate them not with longing, but with the calm knowing that such things flow easily into your life. To embody love, move through your day feeling the warmth of profound connection, even before your specific person appears. Interact with everyone from the state of someone who is deeply loved and appreciated. Speak with the confidence of someone who knows their worth in relationships. Make choices from the security of someone whose heart is completely fulfilled. Rest in the calm certainty that love surrounds you, even in moments of apparent solitude. To embody creative fulfillment, work on your projects with the satisfaction of someone whose creations already impact the world. Share your ideas with the quiet confidence of someone whose vision is already manifested. Speak about your work with the authority of someone whose creative gifts are universally recognized. Make artistic decisions from the freedom of someone who creates not for approval but from overflowing inspiration. Rest in the peaceful knowing that your creative expression is already touching hearts and minds. Most believe these states come after achieving the external reality. But those who understand the law know these states create the external reality. The distinction is everything. You don't feel wealthy after you have money. You have money after you feel wealth. You don't feel creatively fulfilled after success. You experience success after you feel creatively fulfilled. You don't feel loved after finding partnership. You find partnership after you feel loved. This reversal of the manifestation sequence is the revolutionary understanding that changes everything. The world is not causing your internal state. Your internal state is causing the world. Most live as if reality happens to them. But those who understand the law know reality happens from them. The persistence required is not the gritted teeth determination of someone fighting against odds. It is the calm, assured knowing of someone who understands universal law. Just as you don't anxiously wonder if gravity will work today, you need not wonder if your assumption will manifest. Both operate with perfect precision. Both function without exception. Both respond to your command without resistance. Each time, doubt appears, and it will recognize it not as truth, but as the residue of old states of consciousness. Then gently but firmly, return to your assumption. Feel again the reality of your wish fulfilled. Embody again the state where your desire is accomplished. Live again from the consciousness of the version of you who already has what you seek. This mental discipline becomes increasingly natural with practice. What began as conscious effort becomes automatic. What started as periodic remembering becomes continuous awareness. What felt like pretending becomes your dominant reality. And as your consciousness stabilizes in this new state, your outer world must by law reconfigure to match. Most believe this process takes enormous time and effort. But those who understand the law know it can happen in an instant. The moment your assumption becomes complete, when no doubt remains, when the inner knowing is absolute, manifestation occurs with breathtaking speed. What seemed impossible appears suddenly as if it were always inevitable. What appeared distant arrives as if it were always on its way. The wealth you seek is not waiting for some distant future moment. It exists now as a state in consciousness. It awaits only your complete assumption, not your partial belief, not your hopeful wishing, not your intellectual agreement, but your full embodied knowing. Your task is not to create wealth. Your task is to enter the state of consciousness where wealth already exists. To feel it so completely that you cannot remember what lack felt like. To embody it so thoroughly that financial anxiety becomes foreign to your system. To assume it so perfectly that the inner knowing outweighs all external evidence to the contrary. This is the art of assumption, mastered. This is the creative power fully claimed. This is the law working through you with perfect precision. Most believe manifestation requires complex techniques and exhausting rituals. But those who understand the law know it requires only consistent assumption. The simplicity confounds the intellect while empowering the imagination. All power exists in this moment, in your consciousness right now. All transformation happens in the instant you shift states. All creation occurs when assumption becomes complete. Your physical senses will argue against this truth. They will present evidence of limitation. They will show you reasons for doubt. They will insist on the reality of lack. Remember, your senses show you only effects, never causes. They show you the world that was created by past assumptions. They reveal nothing of the world being created by your current assumption. That world exists first in consciousness, then in experience. First in feeling, then in fact. First in assumption, then in reality. The bridge between these worlds is persistence in your new state. Each moment you spend feeling wealthy rewires your consciousness to accept abundance as your natural state. Each day you move through life, as if already successful, reprograms your subconscious to create opportunities for greater achievement. Each breath you take from the state of creative fulfillment reconditions your entire being to manifest artistic recognition. This persistence is not struggle, it is choice. The choice to live from the end. The choice to assume the state of wish fulfilled. The choice to be in consciousness what you wish to be in experience. Make this choice not once but continuously. Not as special practice but as your normal way of being. Not as extraordinary effort but as natural existence. And watch as your assumption hardens into fact with a precision that will leave you in awe of your own creative power. You are not merely influencing reality. You are creating it. Moment by moment, state by state, assumption by assumption. This is the profound truth that liberates you from limitation forever. This is the sacred knowledge that transforms you from victim to creator. This is the divine understanding that establishes you as the author of your experience. Claim it now. Embody it fully. Live from it always. And watch as the wealth you've assumed in consciousness manifests with perfect precision in your physical world. Not because you've manipulated external forces, but because you've aligned with the one creative power that shapes all things, your own consciousness, operating through the perfect law of assumption. Now I must reveal to you the most profound truth of all. Time is an illusion. The linear progression from past to future exists only in human perception. In the deeper reality, the quantum reality, all states exist simultaneously. Right now, in this eternal moment, every version of you exists. The wealthy you, the deeply loved you, the wildly successful you, the perfectly healthy you, the creatively fulfilled you. All present, all complete, all accessible. You are not working toward becoming wealthy. You are selecting the version of you that already is wealthy. This is not metaphor, this is not philosophy, this is the literal structure of reality. Quantum physics has revealed what mystics have known for millennia. Reality is not fixed, but probabilistic. Consciousness does not observe reality. It collapses probability into experience. Your assumption is the instrument that selects which version of reality you step into. Every great visionary, creator, and innovator throughout history accessed this singular truth. Einstein didn't just theorize about relativity, he assumed the state where this knowledge was already his. Mozart didn't compose music. He entered the state where the compositions already existed. Edison didn't invent the light bulb. He assumed the state where illumination was already solved. Tesla didn't discover alternating current. He accessed the state where this system was already perfected. Martin Luther King didn't just dream of equality. He spoke from the state where it was already accomplished. Jesus didn't merely teach transformation. He lived from the state where it was already complete. Understand, these weren't special beings with unique access to creative power. They were humans who discovered what you're discovering now. Assumption is the technology of consciousness that selects which reality you experience. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every state you occupy, these aren't merely responses to reality. They are literally forming your reality in this moment. Not eventually, not gradually, not metaphorically, but instantly, absolutely, scientifically. This is the quantum mechanics of consciousness. This is the literal physics of manifestation. This is how worlds are formed. When you assume wealth consciousness, you're not developing wealth over time. You're selecting the reality stream where wealth is already your experience. The version of you reading these words exists in infinite variations. In one variation, you remain in the consciousness of limitation, and your experience continues to match this assumption. In another variation, you shift here and now into wealth consciousness, and your experience transforms to reflect this new state. The choice is always yours. In each eternal moment, which version of yourself will you select? Which reality stream will you step into? This understanding liberates you from the illusion of process. Most believe wealth requires years of careful building, but those who understand the law know wealth requires only a shift in consciousness. The shift can happen in an instant. The results manifest at the perfect time. But the creative act is complete the moment you fully assume the state of your wish fulfilled. I am revealing to you the secret that reshapes civilizations, the understanding that builds empires, the knowledge that transforms lives, the truth that has been hidden in plain sight throughout human history. You've been taught that your thoughts influence your reality, but the truth goes infinitely deeper. Your consciousness is reality. There is nothing outside of it. There is nothing separate from it. There is nothing that exists independent of it. The world you experience is consciousness externalized. Your consciousness, your assumptions, your selection among infinite states of being. This is not spiritual theory. This is how the universe actually functions. The mystics discovered it through inner exploration. The quantum physicists proved it through experimental observation. The greatest creators demonstrated it through manifestation. And now you claim it through direct experience. Every moment you breathe, you're making a cosmic selection. Every assumption you hold collapses infinite possibility into specific experience. Every state you occupy determines which reality stream becomes your life. This is your divine inheritance. This is your creative birthright. This is your true nature expressed. You are not a passive observer in a fixed reality. You are the active creator of a malleable universe. You are not subject to circumstance. You are the author of experience. You are not waiting for permission to be wealthy. You are assuming the state where permission was never required. From this moment forward, know this truth with unshakable certainty. The wealth you seek isn't waiting in some distant future. It exists now as a state of consciousness. It awaits only your selection. Now let these final declarations penetrate to the core of your being. You are unlimited consciousness expressing in human form. Your true nature is boundless creativity. Your natural state is unlimited abundance. Your essential being is perfect freedom. What you seek is seeking you. What you desire already desires you. What you would create has already created you. Your assumption is your confession of what is true. Your feeling is your prayer. Your consciousness is your kingdom. Your attention is your most sacred gift. Your imagination is your direct connection to infinite possibility. Your belief is the currency of creation. What you accept as true becomes true in your experience. What you know in consciousness must manifest in reality. What you feel with conviction must externalize in form. You are not becoming. You are select. You are not creating. You are revealing. You're not manifesting. You are assuming the state where manifestation is already complete. The universe is not separate from you. It is you expressed. Reality is not happening to you. It is happening from you. Limitation is not your prison. It is your illusion. Freedom is not your goal. It is your nature. Wealth is not your pursuit. It is your selection. Abundance is not your achievement. It is your assumption. The life you desire isn't found through endless seeking. It's claimed through conscious assumption. You don't need to heal your past to claim your future. You need only to assume the state where healing was never needed. You don't need to overcome obstacles to reach success. You need only to assume the state where obstacles never existed. You don't need to earn wealth through exhausting effort. You need only to assume the state where wealth is your natural expression. This moment, right now, is the only creative moment that exists. In this moment, which version of you will you be? Which state will you occupy? Which assumption will you embody? The answer to these questions is creating your tomorrow. Not gradually, not eventually, but instantly. With atomic precision, with quantum certainty, with universal support. The moment you fully grasp this truth, everything changes. Reality ceases to be something you navigate and becomes something you select. Wealth ceases to be something you pursue and becomes something you express. Life ceases to be something that happens to you and becomes something that happens through you. This revelation has transformed countless lives throughout history. It has built fortunes, it has healed bodies, it has reconciled relationships, it has birthed masterpieces, it has reshaped destinies, and now it reshapes yours. Not because you've learned a new technique, but because you've remembered your true nature, not because you've discovered a hidden secret, but because you reclaimed your creative power, not because you've mastered a manifestation method. not because you've awakened to how reality actually works. Let this understanding shake you to your core. You have never been the effect of the world. You have always been its cause. You have never been subject to reality. You have always been its author. You have never been separate from your good. You have always been its source. The wealth you seek has never been apart from you. It has always been an expression of your consciousness. The version of you who lives in perfect abundance exists right now, not as potential, not as possibility, but as a completed state that you can step into in this eternal moment. This is the revolutionary truth that the world's greatest minds discovered. There is no process to manifestation. There is only selection among states that already exist. This understanding doesn't just change what you do. It transforms what you are. It doesn't just alter your actions. It shifts your entire being. It doesn't just modify your results. It recreates your reality. As this revelation fully dawns in your consciousness, feel the profound liberation it brings. Feel the weight of limitation dissolving. Feel the boundaries of possibility expanding. Feel the burden of process lifting. And in this lightened state, make the selection that changes everything. I am wealth expressed. I am abundance embodied. I am freedom personified, not as affirmation, not as technique, not as practice, but as the recognition of what has always been true. Your eyes may not yet see the evidence. Your hands may not yet touch the manifestation. Your circumstances may not yet reflect the transformation. But in consciousness, the only reality is done. Complete, perfect, finished. And what is done in consciousness must, by immutable law, externalize in experience. This is not magic. This is not miracle. This is not mystery. This is the precise operation of universal law. This is the exact functioning of consciousness. This is the literal process of reality creation. From this moment forward, you will never again see the world as you once did. You will recognize every experience as the perfect reflection of your assumed state. You'll understand every circumstance as the precise externalization of your consciousness. You will know every condition as the exact manifestation of your assumption. And with this knowledge comes the most liberating realization of all. You can change your entire life by changing the state you occupy. Not through years of effort, not through complex strategies, not through painful sacrifice, but through the simple, profound act of assumption. The assumption that wealth is your natural state, the assumption that abundance is your true expression, the assumption that freedom is your essential nature. This is the revelation that transforms ordinary humans into conscious creators. This is the understanding that converts limitation into liberation. This is the recognition that transmutes struggle into selection. I leave you with this final truth, a truth so profound it will reverberate through every cell of your being. The world you see is not the world as it is. It is the world as you have assumed it to be. And in the instant, the very moment you assume a new state, you literally step into a new world. Not the same world improved, not the same world enhanced, not the same world with better circumstances, but an entirely new reality that perfectly corresponds to your new assumption. This insight doesn't just change your thinking. It awakens you to the breathtaking truth of who you really are. The conscious creator of your entire experience. The divine selector among infinite reality streams. The sovereign author of your magnificent life story. Claim this truth now. Live from it completely. Share it abundantly. But in doing so, you not only transform your own experience of reality, you elevate the consciousness of everyone your life touches. And that may be the greatest wealth of all.